The spiritual successor to the Redmi Note 10 has been launched in India and the company is calling it the Redmi Note 11. So in this video, let's take our first look at the smartphone. Let me show you what you get inside the box and also talk a little about its pros and cons in comparison to the older Redmi Note 10. Let's get started. Hello everyone, Aman here for Mr. Phone, and before we go ahead, you know the drill. Hit that red subscribe button if you haven't already and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. 5 areas where the Redmi Note 11 brings significant improvements over the Redmi Note 10 are the 90Hz AMOLED display, which is also brighter than the 60Hz Note 10's panel, the 6nm power efficient Snapdragon 680 SoC under the hood. The processor in fact also helps in delivering faster charging speeds on the Redmi Note 11. Then there's a new design that is flatter on the sides, top and bottom, and the rear panel sports a matte finish. Finally, the 50 megapixel quad rear camera setup, which promises to deliver better photos and videos. So starting with the design of the smartphone, the Redmi Note 11 doesn't feel that it has a large footprint despite featuring a 6.4-inch display. In comparison to the Note 10, on the Note 11, the camera module gets a redesign. The back and the frame is still plastic, although the flat sides and the matte finish on the rear panel definitely helps in enhancing the phone's grip. And giving a physical overview, you get a primary mic, a Type-C port and the speaker at the bottom. On the right are the volume buttons and the extremely responsive and accurate fingerprint sensor that is embedded in the power button. Over at the top is the headphone jack, a second speaker to complete the stereo speaker setup, an IR blaster if you fancy that kind of stuff, and a secondary noise cancelling microphone. Finally, on the left is where we find the SIM tray that comes with dual SIM slots and a dedicated slot for the microSD card. So coming back to the smartphone, the design here looks good. It looks refined compared to the older version, that is the Redmi Note 10. For some reason, the Redmi Note 11 feels smaller and lighter in the hand in comparison to the older Note 10, despite both phones having more or less the same dimensions and weight. But whatever it is great. I feel the in-hand feel is good, the ergonomics are again great, and I absolutely love what Redmi has done with the flat edges. Kudos. Onto the front, you get a 6.43-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display which refreshes at 90Hz, offers a peak brightness of 1000 nits and is protected by Gorilla Glass 3. And over the Note 10's panel, this is a huge upgrade guys, considering you get better brightness and of course faster refresh rate. And so interacting with the screen in my brief initial stint has been very good. The display feels smooth, it is extremely responsive to taps and touches. I mean, in terms of quality as well, being an AMOLED display means content consumption is a treat. Colors pop, blacks look great, and by the way, the display is also Widevine L1 certified, so you can enjoy all your favorite shows and movies on OTT. Apart from the screen, one of the other key highlights of the smartphone has to be the 6nm Snapdragon 680 chipset, and by the way, this SoC alone is one of the primary reasons to consider this phone in this price bracket. RAM and storage options include a 4GB plus 64GB storage, 6GB plus 64GB storage, and the top end 6GB plus 128GB storage, the one that Redmi sent to me. There's also an additional 2GB virtual RAM expansion for that added peace of mind. So coming back to the Snapdragon 680 processor, its main advantages over the 11nm Snapdragon 678 in the Note 10 is better thermal management, better overall performance, all while being power efficient. And all this time, general things such as checking social, playing videos, playing casual games has been just fine. Lags and stutter are almost non-existent throughout the UI, which is great. Even heavy games such as Asphalt 9 or Call of Duty Mobile also run absolutely fine. Not at their best graphics settings though, but the performance is commendable for a phone in this price bracket. Here are some benchmarks for your reference. You can pause your screens right now.
What is with you, huh? 1 minute you like me.
Thermal management has been great in this brief time that I've been using the smartphone. I haven't faced any heating issues as such, which is good. Although I would point out that this area around the camera module does get slightly warm when I'm charging the smartphone, but nothing alarming as such. Speaking of which, you get a 5000 mAh battery under the hood that can charge at 33 watt using the supplied charging brick. And while it is too early to draw conclusions about the battery life, I can tell you that the Note 11, despite having the same 33 watt charger as the Note 10, charges faster. For reference, it takes about an hour for this phone to go from 0 to 100%. Moving on, in terms of software, there's MIUI 13 atop Android 11, and admittedly Android 12 here would have been absolutely great, but beyond the Android version, MIUI 13 as a custom skin feels very refined and polished at this stage. Of course, it is feature packed and loaded to the brim, but in the past I also won't deny the problems I faced in MIUI in the Note 10 series. I'm talking about the lag and stutters. So I remember using the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max last year, which was the best of the best that Redmi had to offer at the time. And while it was a great phone overall, my only problem with it was the software optimization, and I'm talking about the lags and stutters in MIUI. Thankfully, all those quirks seem to have been ironed out in MIUI 13. I can't actually believe that MIUI is working so smoothly with no slowdowns or frame drops whatsoever, and it's only a step in the right direction. So definitely a huge congrats to the software team. Finally, for the camera, you get a 50 megapixel main lens paired with an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens and a couple of 2 megapixel depth and macro sensors. At the front, there's a 13 megapixel camera for selfies. Now, in terms of feature set, the Note 11's camera features look more or less the same as the Note 10. However, one strange thing that I did notice here was that despite featuring a newer chipset and a better rear camera sensor, the video recording capability is capped at 1080p 30 fps on the Redmi Note 11 instead of 4K 30 fps that we got on the Redmi Note 10. Well, of course, I will be testing the camera of the smartphone in complete detail, but for now, here are some photo samples that I took in my short time of testing the Redmi Note 11. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, when it comes to pricing, the base version starts at 13,499 rupees and goes all the way up to 15,499 rupees. However, the introductory prices are set at 1,000 rupees less than the actual prices. Plus, if you have Bank of Baroda cards, you can avail an additional 10% discount. I have to admit that the pricing of the Redmi Note 11 is bang on. I mean, for what's on offer, the company couldn't have done any better. However, I still have to do the in-depth testing of the smartphone, and I will be bringing a lot more insights in the full review, so definitely stay tuned for that. And of course, leave your thoughts about the smartphone, about its pricing in the comments below. As always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Mr. Phone. I'll catch you all in the very next one. Thank you for watching.